All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking into something pretty unsettling, something that I think is going to really kind of get under your skin and, make you think a little bit.
Yeah.
So I can just picture this, right? You're walking down the street. It's a busy Wednesday morning in Midtown Manhattan. People are going about their day like normal. And then all of a sudden, like out of nowhere, a major CEO is gunned down right there in broad daylight.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about.
Right. And this isn't like a scene from a movie or anything. This is like real life. We're talking about Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare. And, if you're finding this deep dive interesting already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of this whole story and hopefully uncover the truth together.
Yeah, and it's definitely a case that brings up a lot of questions.
Oh, absolutely. So first off, who was Brian Thompson? He wasn't just some random corporate guy. Like, this guy had a whole life story. He came from the Midwest, worked his way up through the ranks at UnitedHealthcare, really seemed to live out the American dream. But then, this attack happens, and it's just like a total curveball.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking for sure.
And what's even crazier is this wasn't some random act of violence.
Yeah.
This was like a meticulously planned hit. Like, we're talking, the shooter was just lying in wait, ignoring people walking by for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Before finally approaching Thompson from behind, shot him once in the calf and then in the back.
Wow.
And what's even crazier? The gun jammed. But the shooter didn't even freak out, cleared it, and just kept firing. Even walked towards Thompson as he was lying there on the ground. Seemed like he was about to shoot him again.
Yeah.
And then just took off.
That's cold-blooded.
Right.
Yeah.
And to top it all off, the guy escapes on a Citi Bike, vanishes into Central Park like it was nothing.
Sounds like something out of a movie.
It's crazy, right? Makes you think like how much planning went into this. So if you've got any thoughts already, drop them in the comments down below. We'd love to hear what you're thinking. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives like this one.
It's definitely a sign of a really well-calculated act.
Now let's talk money for a second. Thompson made like $10.2 million last year. So we're not talking about some low-level guy here. This was the head honcho of a healthcare giant. So it makes you wonder, right? Could this hit have had something to do with his work at UnitedHealthcare?
That's a pretty natural line of thinking.
Right. Especially when you consider all the controversy surrounding UnitedHealthcare lately. Yeah, lawmakers and regulators have been all over them. Accusations of denying people the treatments they need. Even a Justice Department investigation into some potentially shady business practices. They've been under the microscope for a while now, and Thompson was right in the middle of it all.
Yeah, there's been a lot of scrutiny on them for sure.
Oh yeah, big time. And then there's that whole thing about Thompson selling $15 million worth of company shares.
Yeah.
Right before that antitrust investigation went public. And while UnitedHealthcare claims everything was totally legit, it's definitely suspicious.
Yeah, it raises some eyebrows for sure.
So did someone want to shut him up?
Yeah.
Or is this something totally personal?
I guess that's what we're here to find out.
Exactly. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss part 2 of this deep dive. We're going to keep digging into all the twists and turns of this case, and we'll see if we can't shed some light on what really happened to Brian Thompson.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so we talked about Thompson's role at UnitedHealthcare and all the controversies surrounding the company. But let's kind of zoom in on those a little bit. When we say lawmakers were scrutinizing him, we're not talking about some petty political arguments. These were some serious accusations with some pretty big potential legal consequences.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of the big things that kept coming up was this idea of antitrust and how it applies to the healthcare industry.
Right, antitrust.
Exactly. So for those of you who aren't familiar with antitrust laws, they're basically designed to prevent companies from getting too big and stifling competition, in the context of healthcare. It's about making sure that patients have access to a fair market, a good range of providers and insurers to choose from.
Exactly.
And the Justice Department investigation. They were looking into whether UnitedHealthcare was doing things to limit competition, potentially driving up costs for consumers, and giving people fewer options.
Right, which is a big deal.
Huge deal, especially in a country where healthcare costs are already a major source of stress for a lot of people.
So what do you guys think about the state of healthcare in the U.S.? Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And don't forget to share this deep dive with anyone who might be interested.
Yeah, public perception of the healthcare industry definitely plays a big role in these kinds of investigations. Oh, absolutely. So, this investigation wasn't just some routine checkup. This was a serious threat to UnitedHealthcare's bottom line.
Yeah.
and their reputation. And Thompson, as the CEO, he was right in the hot seat.
Yeah, he was definitely in a tough spot.
Now, remember that cell phone they found near the scene?
Yeah.
What if that's the key to cracking this whole thing wide open? Like, what if it belonged to the shooter?
That's definitely a possibility. Digital forensics are like a crucial part of investigations these days.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Analyzing the data on that phone could reveal a ton of information about the shooter, their identity, their motives, their connections.
Right, you could have call logs, text messages, emails, location data.
Exactly. It could be like a goldmine of evidence.
Yeah.
Potentially linking the shooter to other people, or even organizations that might have been involved in this whole plot.
Like a digital trail leading straight to the heart of the conspiracy.
Makes you wonder what secrets that phone might be hiding, right? Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss the conclusion of this deep dive. We're going to be analyzing the potential fallout from this case and exploring the broader implications for the healthcare industry and beyond.
It's definitely a fascinating aspect of the investigation.
Now let's talk about the Citi Bike escape for a second. It almost seems too casual for a meticulously planned assassination. Like, it doesn't quite add up.
Yeah, it's interesting. On the surface, it seems to contradict the idea of like a highly skilled professional hitman.
Right.
But it could also be a deliberate move to blend in and make a quick getaway.
I mean, it's New York City. Everyone's always in a hurry, and Citi Bikes are everywhere. Maybe the shooter was counting on that anonymity to disappear into the crowd. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. All right, so we've really gone deep into this case. You know, the potential motives, the unsettling details of the assassination. But there's like this bigger picture here that we kind of need to address. Like, what does this whole thing say about where we are as a society? You know about the pressures and the dangers that people in positions of power face.
Yeah, it definitely raises some questions about the increasing tensions and polarization we're seeing in so many areas these days.
Including healthcare.
Right. Healthcare has become like this battleground. Skyrocketing costs, complex regulations, political debates about access and affordability. It's just a really charged atmosphere.
Definitely.
And this case with a CEO being targeted like this, it could be seen as like a symptom of that growing unrest.
Possible.
It's kind of scary to think about, right?
Oh.
That the anger and frustration around healthcare could actually lead to violence.
It's a disturbing thought, for sure. And we can't forget about those threats that Thompson was receiving. Even though we don't know all the details, it points to a level of hostility that's pretty concerning. Like, is this a sign of things to come? Are we headed towards a world where violence is just an accepted way to deal with disagreements?
It's a question we need to consider seriously.
I think this case is a wake-up call. It's a reminder that the stakes are really high. We need to have these open and honest conversations about the challenges facing healthcare, about the anxieties and frustrations that people are feeling, because ignoring those problems isn't going to make them disappear. It might actually make things worse.
I agree. Dialogue is important, especially when things are this tense.
Absolutely. We can't let fear and anger control us. We need to find ways to come together, to find solutions that work for everyone. This case is a tragedy, no doubt about it, but it can also be an opportunity, a chance to reflect on where we are as a society and where we want to go from here. So what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the potential fallout from this case? What are your hopes and fears for the future of healthcare in America? Let's keep this conversation going in the comments below. And as always, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into complex, intriguing events. We'll be back soon with another episode. But until then, stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.